Conditions are deteriorating at the coast as Hurricane Aaron approaches. 20-foot waves washed out roads and homes on the verge of collapse. We'll have live team coverage as Hurricane Aaron makes its approach.
All eyes on the dunes as rain starts to fall here in North Topsail Beach. Coming up, what officials say their biggest priority is ahead of Hurricane Aaron.
As Hurricane Aaron moves in, as much as 4 feet of storm surge is possible. How first responders are preparing.
And we are on top of 2 big stories on WRAL News here at 7 o'clock. Right now, there is a suspect in custody after a nearly 5-hour police search that started after a chase in Raleigh. But first, we will start with Hurricane Aaron, now less than 300 miles away from the coast, and we are tracking the impacts. Thank you for joining us, of course, here at 7. I'm Dan Haggerty. We're taking a live look at Hatteras Island. A lot to pay attention to tonight. New at 7 o'clock, within the last 30 minutes or so. How about I stick with this camera? In the last 30 minutes or so, NC-12 closed from Oregon Inlet to Hatteras Village because of Aaron's storm surge caused some overwash. A buoy along the North Carolina coast has recorded tropical storm force wind gusts, and impacts are underway right now with this evening's high tide. We've got team coverage for you tonight from the coast to the WRAL studio. We're going to bring you the latest now on the conditions as we continue to check in with our team scattered across the area. First, though, with meteorologist Kat Campbell with the latest on this storm. Kat.
Our next update should be in within an hour, Dan, and we'll find out if it is a Category 3 hurricane yet. That's expected to happen overnight. For now, it's only 5 miles per hour under that Cat 3 status. Maximum sustained winds 110 miles per hour, and it's less than 300 miles from Cape Hatteras, moving due north at 14 miles per hour. Not expected to make landfall, but it will be offshore as a major hurricane with maximum sustained winds potentially at 115 miles per hour overnight. The worst of this comes tonight and tomorrow. The outer rain bands from earlier are fizzling out a bit, with the more steady rain remaining offshore at this hour. But new at 7, a buoy offshore, now showing a wave height of over 15 feet. That's right off the coast of Cape Hatteras there, another over 11 feet. And we now have tropical storm force winds, a 40-mile-per-hour wind gust recorded by a buoy just offshore. Futurecast showing the next band of rain arriving probably closer to midnight for the Outer Banks and sticking with them through tomorrow morning. The worst of this is going to happen overnight through the first half of the day tomorrow, and it's still going to take some time before the winds settle down. There will be the threat for winds to gust 40 to 60 miles per hour. Coming up, we'll have a closer look at how much rain the system could bring and what to expect here at home, and if you're headed to the beach this weekend for potential cleanup.
All right, Kat, thank you. It is an angry ocean here, as you can see from the images here near North Topsail Beach. This is right now Onslow County. Officials there have closed public beach access to several spots as they've been preparing for this storm to move by. Now, the biggest concerns will be those rip currents and, of course, beach erosion. WRAL's Heidi Kirk is joining us live from Onslow County. Heidi, conditions have been evolving rapidly. We've been watching your live reports throughout the evening.
Well, Dan, we actually just within the last 2 seconds or so saw the biggest wave up here. In fact, those dunes that you're looking at now live, we've seen lots of splash over them. But the big question today is, will they hold, given the erosion that is already here on North Topsail Beach?
Waves hammer the dunes on North Topsail Beach. Dan Ames says 24 hours ago the surf was even higher here, submerging some of the stairs outside his condo.
Smashing through, and all the sand that came over on top of the walkway.
Hurricane Aaron's impacts being felt hundreds of miles away, bringing heavy rain and a growing surf to Onslow County.
If this storm turned and came straight at us, yes, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you. I'd be out of here.
Many people in the Outer Banks have already evacuated, but the threats look different here. Rip currents and beach erosion.
We've been monitoring closely. We do like we would do for any type of event that we see coming potentially in our direction.
That means equipment checks and surveys of the shoreline, plus issuing these warnings about rip currents and closing part of the beach access points. Coastal engineers like Fran Way are also also monitoring the storm, watching the eroded parts of the dunes closely as they take a beating.
The ultimate thing is will be dune failure, and then we're getting flooding on the streets, around the houses.
Ames says he's seen that before.
A storm that brings in, a lot of the water, that's when we start to really get into trouble. And luckily with Aaron, we haven't seen that much storm surge. The tides have been pretty much similar to what we normally see.
Yet he's still got eyes on the water as it churns closer to his condo.
And again, it's worth noting that all the beach access points that are managed by the county are currently closed. Now, where we're standing, they are open, but officials will tell you do not go near or in the water. Again, these waves are coming up far higher than I think we expected here, and we definitely want to continue standing by and monitoring this and staying as far away as we can. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in Onslow County.
All right, Heidi, thank you. As we told you just a few minutes ago, we'll say it again, NC-12 right here from Oregon Inlet to Hatteras Village there is closed. This is due to the storm surge. You can see how small that little area is. This is a look at some of the overwash within just the last 20 minutes. So it hasn't become terrible. Only in a few sections you can see it's pretty bad. WRL's Eric Miller is live right from the highway there near Pea Island. Eric, what does it look like where you are and how have things changed?
Well, Dan, out here you can see the ocean absolutely raging. Within just the last 5 minutes, we got a push alert, one of those emergency alerts, again letting us know that section of Highway 12 is finally closed. NCDOT saying the Atlantic Ocean right now just too much for the defenses that they have spent days and days trying to build and maintain. You take a look at some of this video here. This was shot by Jenny Coons of Epic Shutter Photography. You get a sense of just how much of a struggle this has been all day long for these crews. This was taken earlier today. A lot of that water from this morning's high tide. This evening's high tide, even higher, even more water expected to come in. Within just the last 5 minutes, I got a text from a source who is down in the Buxton area right now. I was asking him how things are looking. He said, definitely getting messy. Waves rolling in underneath homes, underneath hotels there, spreading water up to a foot deep or more in places and leaving sand absolutely all over the place. First responders have been preparing for this moment, telling people to take precautions. Just listen to what one rescue chief had to say earlier today.
Just be prepared to have water around your house no matter where you're at, if the possibility is there. If you live on the ocean front, I highly suggest that you get out of there now.
Yeah, of course, the first responders pushing evacuations for days and days. Now that window seemingly closed as NC-12 has been shut down on Ocracoke and on Hatteras Island. Again, closed from Oregon Inlet all the way down. Folks should have food, water, medicine, anything they need to be able to ride out this. People, officials are warning could last for multiple days here. On Pea Island, Eric Miller, WRAL News.
Grace Holland here in the WRAL Live Center. Also want to show you this look at the Buxton area that we've just got some images of. The water coming up around homes. You can see people watching as these waves continue to roll in as the tide has continued to crest. At this point, not threatening any porches or anything that we've seen so far. I also want to show you these pictures. This gives you an idea of the difference. This one obviously sort of from the same angle we were just looking at, but this one is on the ocean side of those homes, and you can see just how rough that is when it's coming in straight off the ocean. Not even any beach there at this point between that and those homes. Anyone that's inside certainly hunkering down at this hour.
It would be off-putting to be in those homes, certainly seeing that. Grace, thank you. The newly redesigned WRAL weather app is your one-stop shop throughout Aaron. You can track the path and real-time get those alerts right to your phone and some updates as they come down on this massive storm that continues to move through. Now to some breaking news we're staying on top of in Raleigh. New within just the last 15 minutes, we know a suspect is in custody. This is after police shut down Bashford Road in Raleigh to conduct a search for a man they say broke into cars and assaulted assaulted an officer. WRAL's Willie Danley has been at that scene for hours now. Willie, we know that the suspect was just 21 years old.
Yes, Dan, he is 21 years old, and his name is Elmer Bautista Candea. That is what Raleigh police are telling us. And I can tell you, within the last 10 minutes, Raleigh police have reopened Bashford Road. You can see people returning to their homes now. I want you to take a look at this door cam video that was sent to WRAL. It shows Candea, at least police saying that this is Candea, who was a car break-in suspect, ramming a truck into an occupied Raleigh police cruiser on Saturday. The officer that was inside of that vehicle did sustain some minor injuries. Today, Raleigh police tell us that they attempted to arrest Candea again, and that's when he stole a pickup truck and ran away from police. That chase from police led them here to Bashford Road, which was shut down for over 5 hours due to this investigation. Raleigh police tell us that he had numerous outstanding warrants on top of what occurred today.
The individual in connection with the investigation that is currently ongoing has outstanding warrants for assault by strangulation, injury to personal property, and attempted larceny.
Police tell us that Candea ran to a residence on this street because he knew people who lived inside of that home. We are working to learn more information about who owns that property and if they'll be facing any repercussions. We're going to continue to stay on top of this story. In Raleigh, Willie Danley, WRAL News.
All right, Willie, thank you. Coming up next, a new perspective. The man accused of causing a giant explosion in Wilmington that injured 4 firefighters faced a judge today. We have a new vantage point to show you of that explosion and wild scene. Also, energy plan scrapped. Duke Energy ditched a plan for offshore wind energy. Concerns about climate change and cheers from cost cutters next. We continue to check in on the coast as we take a live look at Rodanthe. You can't tell, are you looking at the sky or the surf? It's tough to tell at this point, but you can see the rain and ocean spray covering the lens there. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll check back in with meteorologist Kat Campbell for an update on the hurricane and how we can expect weather to play out here inland back in the Triangle. New information and a new vantage point. It's shedding light on that massive gas line explosion in Wilmington. Wow. So this is the new vantage point we're talking about. This is some dash cam video. It shows just the moments that all happened yesterday just before noon. Again, 4 firefighters were injured after this explosion. One of them had 2nd and 3rd degree burns to his hands and arms. He got skin grafts this afternoon, so pretty awful. You're looking at 46-year-old Jason Lee Beach from Wilmington. He's been charged in this case. He's being held now in jail on a $1 million bond. New this evening, we've got to look at some video showing the aftermath of a train derailment more than 3 days later. You can see the tracks are back open. This was taken by Sharon Cece in Enfield this afternoon. This is where 28 CSX train cars loaded with coal derailed on Sunday afternoon. CSX says all tracks were back in service just after midnight on Tuesday. The company says equipment may still be on site there in the coming days as crews continue to cut and remove those cars. The cause of the crash is still under investigation. Some call it a smart money move. Others see it as a setback. Duke Energy has decided not to pursue offshore wind projects right now, a choice that's stirring some debate about North Carolina's energy future. WRAL's Liz McLaughlin breaks it down.
Offshore wind faces headwinds in North Carolina as Duke Energy pauses plans, a move that some are celebrating.
I think it's good news for North Carolina, for ratepayers, and for our electrical grid because it's going to remove an extremely expensive form of electricity.
John Sanders with the conservative think tank John Locke Foundation says affordability and reliability should come first.
And what about the impact on the climate?
Because North Carolina is so infinitesimally small on the global scale, nothing that we can do is going to make a dime's bit of difference with regard to the climate.
The utility's decision followed an independent review of projects off the state's coast. A Duke Energy spokesperson said they determined that offshore wind isn't cost competitive at this time. Clean energy advocates see the move as a missed opportunity.
What we know is that states need to plan for generation. There are so many states that have offshore wind as part of their goal or part of their planning process to meet demand reduce carbon emissions and make sure that they're taking care of their ratepayers. And those needs aren't going to go away, and wind is still going to be part of the solution.
The debate comes as state leaders recently rolled back North Carolina's climate mandate, eliminating a 2030 deadline to sharply cut power plant emissions. Energy is the state's second largest source of greenhouse gases, behind transportation. Liz McLaughlin, WRAL News.
So while the projects are on hold for now, Duke says the data gathered will shape its next long-term resource plan due this fall. Let's touch base with meteorologist Kat Campbell again. So we've seen all the conditions kind of progressing at the coast. We're waiting for the most recent updates, though, on the storm itself.
And that will be out tonight at 8 o'clock. I'll have that update for you at 8 o'clock on WRAL News Plus. Don't forget, you can always stream from your phone, our app, or your computer or TV for free. We'll have that update from the National Hurricane Center coming up here soon, but conditions are gradually going to get worse at the coast tonight. Beaufort, kind of the cutoff point, the worst conditions staying north of Beaufort, not so bad south of Beaufort. If you got a boat in that area, I think for the most part, you're going to be in okay shape. We're just watching for rough waves there. But satellite imagery actually showing the eye disappearing a little bit. We'll see what that means in terms of intensity and any hurricane hunter flights that get us actual numbers in tonight. The rain band from earlier, kind of dissipating to some degree, but a more steady rain band staying offshore for now that will try to rotate ashore for the Outer Banks tonight. The storm, not a big rainmaker for us. So when we talk about flooding at the coast, we're not talking about flooding due to the water falling from the sky. We're talking about flooding because of the ocean. It's those high waves, the storm surge that will lead to significant beach erosion for the Outer Banks. 1 to 2 inches of rain at most from this hurricane at the coast. And here we're expecting pretty limited rainfall over the next 5 days, less than half an inch, looking lightly. So it's more of a wind threat, more of a coastal flooding threat. And our wind threat, 40 to 60 mile per hour gusts are possible. We've already seen tropical storm force winds offshore at buoys, and in our southern beaches, winds could gust up to about 40 miles per hour. Here locally, I do not expect wind to be a big deal. It will be breezy, though, during the day tomorrow, and that does have to do with Hurricane Erin. We're just not going to see the worst of this storm whatsoever. Really no threats here in our viewing area. But look at the footprint of Hurricane Erin. The tropical storm force winds are in yellow here. The orange is where we have Category 1 hurricane winds. So this is just a massive hurricane. The wind field is unusually large. And this is just the first hurricane of the season. 2 more areas to watch behind it. I'm not concerned about this area for the U.S. We will keep an eye on this zone right here for a wave moving off the coast of Africa. But it's on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. We've got a long time to track it. And model plots are still all over the place. A lot of jagged edges on them. So we'll wait till we get some real data and hopefully hurricane hunter data so those become more accurate. If you're headed to the coast this weekend, our forecast here locally looks pretty good. Just some isolated storm chances at the coast. And keep an eye on the flags flying at the coast. The surf may still be rough, not as bad as during the week, but you should have some drier weather for cleanup if you do have to head east. Over the next 7 days, not too hot, not too humid this weekend. Still pretty nice for summer weather. Monday is the first day of school for many kids in our area, and the first week of school may end up being quite nice. A taste of fall on the way next week. A crisp feel could return. Some areas could even dip into the 50s for lows.
I'm excited for that.
Me
I know
too.
you like it. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Kat. Up ahead, highway washing away. Highway 12 on the Outer Banks is a common problem spot during storm season. A new study found the issues could soon intensify. A breakdown on the growing risks at the North Carolina coast. Welcome back. Another live look at the coast, this time Carolina Beach. Strong surf as the coast sees more impacts from Hurricane Erin. Less than an hour ago, the Department of Transportation shut down Highway 12 on Hatteras and Ocracoke Islands. High tide washing up on there, causing some really dangerous conditions. And for decades, the Department of Transportation has known this is a trouble spot. They've tried to hold this road together, building dunes, placing sandbags, and rebuilding sections washed away by other storms. A new UNC study says that those fixes may actually be making the problem worse.
The storm events we need to protect roads and buildings from are actually the same events that would otherwise be building island elevation and allowing islands to grow wider. And it's a really extremely difficult reality, but unfortunately, the more successful we are in preventing storm impacts, the more quickly we're essentially managing the barrier islands out from underneath us.
The bottom line, scientists say decades of holding the line on Highway 12 are accelerating erosion and increasing risks for roads and homes. The U.S. Air Force is helping weather officials measure the intensity of Hurricane Erin. Air Force Reserve hurricane hunters are working with partner agencies to collect real-time data on waves, currents, and atmospheric turbulence caused by Erin. Some of this video is just amazing to some of the things they're doing. The squadron dropped those buoys into the ocean ahead of Hurricane Erin, forecasting experts there expect the center to remain far offshore, but the outer edges of that monster storm will bring high winds, large swells, and life-threatening currents, something that we have been telling you all day today. Can't repeat enough. Thank you for making WRAL your choice for local news. Our next newscast is at 10 o'clock on Fox 50 and at 11 on WRAL. Until then, have a great night.
Watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.